So here are a few homework type problems for section 3.1, which is titled Evaluate an Expression with Factorials. So we're going to learn about factorials if you haven't explored them before. And the factorial symbol looks just like an exclamation mark. So when you see that, it has a very specific meaning. So 7 factorial means 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. So evaluate just means they want you to multiply those numbers together. So you're going to do 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, which I'm getting 5,040. You may want to look on your calculator and find a button with this. It might be under a stat menu or a probability menu. Mine's under a probability menu. And you probably have a button where you can just say, what is 7 factorial? But it really is important to understand how they work so that you can do other calculations with them. They will come up again several times in future calculus classes. So the next expression we have is 5 factorial times 2 factorial. So we have 5 factorial, which is 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, times 2 factorial, which is just 2 times 1. So we're going to have 5 times 4 is 20, times 3 is 60, times 2 is 120, times 2 is 240. So this is a worksheet that's in the Canvas files. If you want to look at these worksheets before you start working on homework, you might find that helpful. And I want to scroll down to show you that they have the answers here. So here's 5,040 and 240. So we have one more here that says, let's look at, I'm going to write it bigger, 3 factorial times 5 factorial over 6 factorial times 4 factorial. So some simplifying can go on here, and I want to talk about that. So if you have 7 factorial, we saw that 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. Well, do you notice that this part right here is 6 factorial? So 7 factorial actually equals 7 times 6 factorial. Well, we can write this statement in general by saying n factorial equals n times n minus 1 factorial. So then that also tells us that if we divide both sides by n minus 1 factorial, that's going to equal n. So let's look at how we could use this to simplify this factorial we have. So we have 3 factorial and 5 factorial in the numerator. Well, we just decided that 6 factorial is the same thing as 6 times 5 factorial. If you write it out, I think you'll see that. And then you have 4 factorial, which is 4 times 3 factorial. So then you can see that the 3 factorials cancel and the 5 factorials cancel, and you get 1 over 24 with a lot less effort and not any giant numbers that you would get by actually figuring out the factorials. So that's all there is to section 3.1. And then in 3.2 we'll be using factorials to do other things with.